What's up, people? You're listening and watching the RAPS Talk podcast presented by HipHoopJunkies.com and HoopEdsNorth.com and our sponsors, FanEssentials.net. This is episode 92, Hoops Talk out of Halifax. My name is Romy Aquino. I have with me
Jean-Francois.
And
Kyle Lowry. Time is back. Stamping.
Yeah, who's back? Guess who's back? Kyle Lowry made a statement today. He went head-to-head with Dwyane Wade. Game 3 of the second round series, and the Raptors pull out the 95-91 win. Go ahead 2-1 in the series. Lowry with 33 points, 11 of 19 from the field, 5 threes. Kyle Lowry's back, isn't he?
Well, he was today. Hopefully, we'll see more of that. But that was great. And 29 of those points in the second half. Only had 4 points at halftime.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it was huge. Kyle Lowry. I mean, yeah, he went head to head. Like Dwyane Wade was just as clutch. I mean, he was hitting everything. I mean, vintage Dwyane Wade. Something you're scared of every game. It doesn't matter how old he is. I mean, he's gonna nail those jumpers and he's gonna hit those threes. Wade 38 points, 13 to 25 shooting. Yeah, was it just a straight up head-to-head matchup between these two down the stretch?
It seemed like it was going that way, but each of them kind of had their own time. There was a couple baskets they traded, but there were definitely key moments in the game in the second half specifically where each one of them shone. And I thought that was really cool. I thought that was really cool that each of them were able to, make an impact. Obviously, it put Raptors fans, made Raptors fans a little nervous. D Wade basically brought the game right back to, from a 10-point deficit and brought it right back to tie up the game. But yeah, each of them had their own impact at different points, which I thought was added an extra twist to the result.
I'm gonna do my pop culture comparison. This time it was like the Flash. The Flash is, even though it's kind of bad that the Flash is the nickname of D Wade, but whatever. Flash lost his powers on the show, and it's like Kyle Lowry lost his powers, but now he's got them back because he was put in a tough situation with JV going down, and he had no choice but to respond, and he did.
Yeah, definitely a tough loss. I mean, the storyline, we didn't get to talk about the last game, but the storyline, the Raptors won the game last, but it was an ugly game. JV kind of won that game for them, even though he didn't get the shots. He was just doing all the dirty work, getting the offensive rebounds, and just getting himself involved where he could. So going to this game, Miami was looking for an answer for JV. And it looked like it was Hassan Whiteside was going to be kind of the guy, but then they also put Josh McRoberts on him as well. But unfortunately, the Hassan Whiteside went down with the knee injury, and he didn't return, which looked like a great opportunity for the Raptors to kind of take advantage. But it was the third quarter when JV also went down with an injury. How crazy was that the two big men, kind of like who were going to be kind of like the storyline of the series, just went down all in the same game?
Yeah, crazy. You just never know. And both of them, unfortunately had kind of suffered some tweaks with each of those injuries, Hassan's knee and JV's ankle. So, both of them, thankfully, the x-rays came back negative for both. Both are day-to-day, although it does sound like Hassan's is a little more problematic and could have him out for a fairly long time, but we'll see how that goes. And JV, I think that the Raptors sports science coach, Alex McKechnie, opted and erred on the side of caution to keep him out. I think that he probably could have come back if they really needed him, but because of the fact that it was swollen, they wanted to and couldn't really push off on it that well, I guess, after they tried to rewrap it. They just opted not to bring it back in, especially this series where each game is every second day. There's only one full day off in between each game, so the earlier you can have them out and let it, kind of, I wouldn't say heal, but not have any more pressure on it, and be able to give JV more treatment in a quicker time frame. I think that will hopefully have JV back on the court for Game 4, but we'll see how it responds to treatment, as JV said in the post-game interviews today as well.
And I think they would have erred on the side of caution regardless, but I think a big part of it was the fact that Whiteside was down too. Like, looking back in the regular season, at times Biyombo and Valanciunas were almost splitting time, but in this series they knew that they had to really attack Whiteside to get him outside of the paint and not protecting so much, like to have an offensive threat go against them. So then when Whiteside went down, then it kind of opened up the way for Biyombo to contribute without having to worry about Hassan Whiteside leaving him to protect the paint. So, you never want to see a guy go down to injury, but it kind of helped things in that regard.
Right.
Yeah. And with the JV.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
And were you guys a little bit scared at the beginning though, when they had that little moment of showing Whiteside, who heard about DeRozan saying that Valanciunas dominated him, and then the first play of the game was a Whiteside alley-oop? I was like, uh-oh, because he's had some big games too.
Yeah.
But yeah, JV responded though. He responded big.
No, I mean, if there's anything that I've noticed with JV this series and in the Indiana series, I mean, this year in general and in the playoffs, is that he's pretty confident, and he's very emotional, and he's kind of a bully himself, and he's not going to back down. He's not if it's Udonis Haslem staring him down, I mean, he's not gonna back down. He's gonna stare him right back. So if there's anything, this is gonna be definitely a stepping stone for JV, because I mean, if he keeps playing the way he's playing, I mean, he's developed into the player that the Raptors drafted, that what they expected.
They hoped for. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if he continues to dominate like he has been, he's destined to be an all-star, I would say. I mean, I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, they just got to keep moving the basketball.
Well, I was thinking the other day, right? When he was playing in the under-21s, what was he averaging? 21 and 17 boards or 18 boards?
Mm-hmm.
So that's him playing against guys his own age. And now, he just turned 24. He's not even in his prime yet, and he's soon to be on equal footing with guys his own age and in their prime. So who's to say he can't, doing what he's doing now and he's just getting there? Who's to say he can't put up those kind of numbers in the NBA?
That's right.
Yeah, no, he played, even in the 22 minutes he played tonight, 16 points, 12 boards.
Yeah, double at half.
Yeah, 7 to 12. I was expecting a huge game from him before, without knowing this injury that was going to happen in the third quarter. I think he would have, you even noticed once JV was out of the game, that's when things got scary for Toronto. They kind of didn't have an answer. Some of the spots, I think, where JV would normally score, Biyombo wasn't kind of ready for it, and then they had to put in Luis Scola for some minutes as well.
That was ugly. That was ugly for a second there.
And then not too long after that, Coach Casey elected to take Lowry out of the game too for quite a long time, and then that's when Miami came back and did all their damage. They went on a 14-4 run, and they went on an 18-1 run with Lowry out too. So it was oh my gosh, got to get him back in.
Yeah. That period where Lowry was on the bench, and with Scola. Scola. He only played 5 minutes, but he had some good looks too.
He had a lot of good looks. None of them were going down. So.
Would have been nice. Yeah, he was 0 for 2, both threes. But yeah, it would have been big.
And Coach Casey, he also made a lineup change with the starting lineup. He inserted Patrick Patterson back into the starting lineup. You guys were okay with that, making that switch?
Yeah, they were just trying to get a little bit bigger, in their front court. and I think they were able to achieve that by going with DeMar and Patrick and Jonas.
Yeah, like at the start of game 3, Dang posted up DeMar and scored, I think. So I don't know. They haven't, like, I don't know. Dang's fallen off a little bit, but it feels like he would have more opportunities to try to take advantage of that. But I guess he's being proactive and getting a bigger man in on him now is better. I thought it was going to be James Johnson, but
Yeah,
got
I
the
mean,
job done.
we had the discussion. I mean, in the last podcast, and we didn't get to discuss the game too. But yeah, I mean,
All right.
Coach Casey went with James Johnson, and he was a difference maker in that last game.
Yeah, he only played 5 minutes, but he got in there and got right into Joe Johnson. It was and it helped stop the run that the Heat were on at that time.
And that run was all Joe Johnson too. I think wasn't it
Yeah,
like
it was.
9 straight by Joe Johnson.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, yeah.
And at least he tried
He
to
even
make
had 8
it
straight
difficult
as well.
for Johnson. JJ versus JJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so going back to this game in Miami, it was all Dwyane Wade. I mean, 38 points. I know, like, he hit four threes. They were 4 of 18 from 3, and it was only him that hit all the threes. The rest of the team went 0 for 12, I believe, from 3-point land. So, and Dragic didn't get much. I mean, I think that was one of the questions, I think, in the post game. I think was that Dragic was kind of sitting out for a good chunk.
Yeah, he picked up his 4th foul pretty late, and then his 5th foul with quite a bit of time remaining in the 4th. So yeah, he didn't see a lot of time after that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so I think that was one of the questions. I mean, what from a Miami perspective, what kind of went wrong for Miami?
Well, just their team is completely different when Whiteside's not in the game, and it's obviously Dwyane Wade is able to do some great things on the floor. Given the future Hall of Famer that he is, and the All-Star and the NBA champion that he is. But Whiteside, we mentioned this at the one of our first podcasts of this series, and the metrics and the numbers that the Miami Heat have defensively are tremendously better when Whiteside is on the floor compared to when he's not. And he just affects the game in so many ways, and not having him in there, the Raptors were able to take advantage of that, and with JV, and then even with JV out, they managed to be able to make the appropriate adjustments as well.
Yeah, and you forget that this team also relied a lot on Bosch, who's
That's right, yeah.
missed all of this now, and that's a big chunk of their payroll between those two front court players. And with both of them gone, then there's just not a whole lot of defense down low.
Yeah, I mean, what are you left with? I mean, you got Amari, Stoudemire, and I mean Haslam. I mean, off the bench, but I mean the leaves are pretty thin. Like, especially if you're facing off, against JV. But it'd be interesting to see kind of where the injuries stand for Monday's game. We're hoping. I was reading that like what JV couldn't get his. He wasn't able to get one of his shoes on because of his ankle, but hopefully he'll be good to go for Monday, and we'll have to see what happens.
Asterisk though, it was a dress shoe. Dress shoes are tight and super uncomfortable. So if it was like old school Adidas with no laces in or something, and he couldn't get his foot in that, then I'd be worried. This one, yeah, it's dress shoe.
Let's talk about some of the other guys on the Raptors. DeMar DeRozan, 19 points, 6 of 17. I mean, he still struggled a little bit, and some bad shot selection, but I mean that's always the case with DeMar. What did you think about DeMar tonight?
Overall, solid, but as you alluded to and mentioned, just frustrating with some of the shots, especially when he was some of the shots he was shooting from basically the free throw line. Just go like 5 feet further and try and draw the foul. A couple floaters, whatever, right? And he had a bogus call called against him against Udonis Haslem when Haslem had both feet inside the restricted area. When DeRozan got that offensive rebound and went back up. But, that's what he needs to do. Just continue to attack, and you'll get those foul calls, and you'll go to the free throw line even more. Because I think he was 7 of 8 from the free throw line today, which, is not bad. It's a nice improvement conversion-wise because he was 2 of 8 in Game 2, unfortunately, even though the Raptors managed to win still. But, yeah, I would just like to see DeMar mix it up. Just keep attacking the rim. Some dunks, some backdoor cuts, some layups, some floaters, some more drives.
I'm just glad. I'm just glad he hit his free throws at the end there.
Yeah,
that was
clutch. That was clutch.
That was a big story from the last game. For the Raptors out in general, I don't know how they managed to win that game with the free throws that they missed on that last game, but it's good to see that the team shot 75% from the line. T. Ross, he had 18 minutes, 5 points. He showed some flashes of good and some flashes of bad, but that's what you get with T. Ross, I guess. He's athletic and he gets in the passing lanes and he's able to get a few steals, but he also makes some errant passes that lead to turnovers, and you hate to see those turnovers turn into points for Miami, but that's what you get sometimes. DeMar Carroll, 6 points, 2 of 9. What do you think of DeMar Carroll at this point in terms of where he is injury-wise? I would say he's probably good to go back to where you expect to see DeMar Carroll.
I think so. Of course, there's going to be things they don't tell us as far as exactly how he's kind of coming along with his injury and whether or not he's experiencing any major swelling and things like that. Obviously, anything that he's experiencing isn't bad enough to keep him from playing, right? So that's a great sign. And there's been no minute restrictions as of late, and he's been playing this a ton of minutes. So I'm hoping that he can continue to play at this high level, and he doesn't look to be laboring out there either. So I think that's probably the best tell, especially now with not having a bunch of days off in between games either, back to back to back kind of thing. Every second day you're back on the floor. So he's looking solid. What do you think, Yui?
Yeah, he was their leading scorer previous game as well. So you got to think he's found his rhythm. But NBA is NBA. So when you miss all that much time and then come back to play against guys who never missed any time at all, who've been playing, years straight of their life, it's hard to come back and match that. But he seems to be doing it now, getting back to where he was. So now it's just a matter of being more consistent and just giving it to them night to night. But effort-wise, it looks like he's there and able to put in the minutes.
Yeah, I like what he brings out to the table. I kind of like what him in JV in the last game, in Game 2. They just kind of do all the dirty work, and they're able to. They're able to score from wherever if they get a rebound or something like that, an offensive board. I just like what they bring to the table, and it's good to have guys like that. Lowry and DeRozan are going to be your guys, kind of leading the way, but having DeMar Carroll and JV kind of doing all that other stuff, and even Patrick Patterson, hitting some open threes, just having those guys kind of as secondary or third, fourth options to score is a good thing to see. So Monday night, Game 4, 8 p.m. Eastern start. What do you expect Miami to come out with next game?
Intensity, definitely with that mindset of we want to grab this one at home. We don't want to go down 3-1 to the Raptors to have to go back to the Air Canada Center for Wednesday. and the game Wednesday is also at 8 o'clock Eastern. So I know that they're just going to be excited, and they're going to be coming out flying at the Raptors, and wait to see if they have Hassan Whiteside or not. Probably not, but regardless, they'll be coming ready to play. The Raptors are going to have to match that intensity and ultimately continue to make shots like they were doing for the most part today.
Yeah, kind of expecting really a lot of aggressiveness from D Wade, Joe Johnson, and Dragic.
Yeah.
Any one of those three big games.
Yeah, and the Raptors
been for them.
Yeah, the Raptors have been in this situation the last series too. So I mean, but the fact that they're going to split this 2 games in Miami, you're kind of happy with that. I mean, at least
at least
one, at least one of these games, and I mean to get the first game.
Yeah, I'm already writing them off. Peter, right there.
Yeah, but it's good that they that they got this first game in Miami. I mean, if they go up 3-1, I mean, obviously that's going to be huge. And I mean, they've like I said, they've been in the situation against Indiana. So hopefully they can kind of, get that 4th game and go up 3-1 and bring it back to Toronto. But I mean, this is the Toronto Raptors. You never know. You never know what you're going to get.
This is also true.
Yeah, I gotta
hopefully a consistent effort. 2 wins in a row, rather. So see if they can keep building on that.
I was reading Heather Cox's Twitter from ESPN, and she was saying ACC she ranks as number 1 as the loudest arena at all the games she's been to. So that's shout out to the Raptors fans in Toronto, making a lot of noise, and not only in the arena but in Jurassic Park. So that's cool to see. I mean, I saw on Twitter too. I can't remember where I saw it, but they were doing this kind of comparison between like the Miami fans outside and then obviously Jurassic Park, and it wasn't even close. So yeah,
hard to compete with the way that they've got it set up at Maple Leaf Square in Toronto. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I know too, like the Raptors fans, like just your casual Raptors fans, like even in here in Halifax. I mean, I hear a lot of people like just being out today, like that were ready to watch the Raptors game today. So just like some casual fans. I mean, I think a lot of attention is on the Toronto Raptors, and there's not a lot of. I mean, I guess this time of year in the NHL, if there's no Canadian teams in the playoffs, I'm sure there's a lot of attention with the Raptors as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's great to see, man. It's the only Canadian team in the playoffs right now. Everyone else is in the NHL land is out from a Canadian perspective and never made the playoffs this year. It's not playoff season for the other sports, so it's pretty awesome. It's a pretty awesome feeling, and just cool to see the game of basketball continue to grow, just from not just the diehard fans like us, the casual fans. Like sports like baseball, the NFL, like football, they've had that, like those casual fans. But in Canada specifically, we haven't really experienced, the bandwagon loading up and people really kind of jumping on board. So hopefully they can keep it going, man. That'd be awesome to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and who knows, right?
Yeah, no. Yeah, Eastern Conference Finals, I mean, that's definitely within. I mean, Miami's not great.
No,
I mean, like,
no.
sure,
You just got to come and execute every night, you know what I mean, to get these wins. One game at a time, of course, but they're trending in the right direction. We'll say that.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see. I mean, we'll talk about Game 4 after Monday. But yeah, that's it for the podcast. Stay tuned to the blogs, hiphoopjunkies.com, hoopheadsnorth.com. Follow us on Twitter at Romeo Aquino, at Sean Francois, at Yui the Jock. We out.